It is the season again, folks. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and a wonderful year 2019. Thank you so much for all the support 2018, and I gotta make sure that the adventure continues. Cheers. Hello all you spoon crafters and bush carvers out there, this is Max from Woodsman's Finest, and today I decided to make a video. Well, I gotta give you the backup story. I was just sitting in here axing out these dry cherry blocks from this sakura tree that I harvested on the Shinto shrine in Monokata, and I make all the kayak spoons from right now. And I read this guy's really nasty comments on my YouTube videos, and I got just so like upset about it and everything. So first what happened is I finally managed to axe into my left thumb after a few days where I was just feeling like I'm getting a little bit too close to that thumb sometimes when I'm in a pinch kind of and axing some really dry wood that I'm getting tired and just not paying attention, and then finally just being totally upset in my mind and kind of just bummed about some people's amazing ability to destroy good stuff with their attitude. Yeah, I just managed to axe through the front of my thumb. Anyways, I decided the best way to tackle this kind of issue is making a YouTube video. So welcome to another edition in my Spoon Carving 101 Pro Tip series. About 1.5 years ago, I had the big pleasure, and as always, the obligatory apology for the very noisy background here. I hope it's not too bad in my little mic, that it does actually do a good job. I have some quiet moments and then all of a sudden it seems like an entire warehouse is driving by the spot here. In any case, sorry. A couple of years ago, actually 1.5 years ago I had the big pleasure to meet Ray Mears, one of the guys who were one of most influential probably in me starting to make handmade items for people's daily lives with the idea to really upkeep quality and just enjoying, like, you know, people having to be materialistic because we're humans and this is what we have to do. And so just being materialistic in a good way, picking up stuff every day that you really enjoy using, that has a little bit of a story to it, that ages with you. Things like that really fascinated me, and he got me basically going on that trip. And then besides it, of course, my canoeing and hunting and outdoor fascination I had ever since a small kid. In any case, it was a very special moment for me, and I wanted to mention that because he said many different things in the past that have inspired me, and kind of mottos that I keep up, that I live by in a way sometimes. One of them was, he said something, and I'm paraphrasing, he said something along the lines of, the key to using an axe and a tool properly, efficiently, and well is boldness. Folks, yours truly here, 8 months after I recorded this footage in Japan, which is always an absolute privilege and a magical time to be there. I got to spend about 6 months in Northern Ontario as well now. Guiding, fishing and canoeing, which was an absolute blast, and I'm really taking a lot of inspiration from those places that I'm trying to give back in the following videos, of course. The reason I wanted to intersect here for a moment is that my pronunciation is really horrible sometimes. English is not my first language, and I sound the whole time an awful lot like I'm saying bald, which probably has a lot to do with myself and my aging, I guess. But what I'm actually trying to get at in this video is boldness. So please excuse my mispronunciation, and I hope you still get to enjoy the video. Cheers. Joel Turner, and this is something he said just somewhere, I don't know, he probably was somewhere out northern Ontario on a canoe trip, was using one of his Grand Swiss Brook small forest axes that I'm a very big fan of as well, and I think he was making a paddle, I think, at that point, which I started eventually as well with the same method, and have been making a lot of custom paddles ever since for serious canoers up in Ontario. In any case, I was thinking about this phrase for a long time. Boldness. What does boldness mean? Little Japanese boy. walking by with his mom. For Japanese kids, I'm always a little bit of a curiosity. In any case, so I was wondering what is baldness? What does baldness mean? It nearly has sometimes a little bit of a negative connotation to it, but it actually really doesn't. Baldness means to do something very confidently and efficiently without too much, fuzz, without too much second thoughts and all kind of worries and stuff. I think it's like a very, very straight on way of doing something with baldness. So I call this episode How to Get Better at Spoon Carving because I think that baldness is the key to get better at spoon carving. And what I mean by that, and this very informative part of this video is probably shorter than the whole intro, but what I mean by that is that baldness allows you to free your mind, just like I was speaking about in the last episode with my Triple C method of spoon carving. Now the crow is setting in as well. It's awesome. It frees your mind to really concentrate on the design and working cleanly and rather quickly and time efficient, which is important for somebody like me making a living with this kind of style of working with hand tools, leather, craft, blacksmithing, and spoon carving. It gives you a lot of freedom of mind. Baldness needs a few things to be in place though to be possible. One of them is, like I said, confidence. And the confidence is something you get through a lot of repetition, through doing it a lot, and which I was very inspired by the traditional archery and shooting instructor by the name of, there's a very cool channel here called Shot IQ. And he said is if you want to do something, like if you did something well, you want to do something well repeatedly, you have to know what you're doing. You have to have a dedicated method, and then have to know every single step through. What are you doing when you execute a shot, for example, with a bow? It has to be extremely conscious. It can't be just running in the back, autopilot. And it's a little bit similar with using an axe. And I realized that in the morning today, it has to be very, very conscious. And once it's conscious, it becomes very confident because I'm consciously executing these cuts with an axe, with a knife, etc. I know what I'm doing because I've analyzed it. I know what I'm doing. I have repeated it this and that much, and I can be bold. In my example, that means that I can take very big pieces of wood off with an axe. Like this is the size of my chips here, just to give you an idea. This is a very good example here. This is a baldly axed out piece of wood. There are several relief cuts, and then there is a big cut to take the whole chunk out. And this is the normal size of my chips. I see a lot of beginners really tapping away at the piece of wood, taking tiny little chips out, which takes them a very long time, and it doesn't really leave a nice finish. It's pretty important for me to point out that it's been quite a while ever since I recorded this video, and in general I'm so satisfied with it. But there's some things I would probably point out a little bit differently now as it is, as I keep learning and as I keep finding new terms and new ways of pointing out things. So please see the video with a grain of salt and read between the lines here a little bit, as what I'm trying to really say is that learning the foundation, learning the basics is the foundation to build confidence and experience, which is the foundation again of boldness. The boldness is what's absolutely crucial to improving and success in carving. And I just hope I get that across in one way or the other. Cheers. And I'm not trying to show off here. It's just, this is kind of what people want to get to at the end when they carve spoons, right? But in order to get to the long sweeping lines like this, you have to make long cuts, that come all the way from the top to the bottom, all the way from out here. You have to know the directions of the cuts so you can really confidently say, yes, I can start the cut here and I take it all the way up there with one long motion, and what it leaves is a beautiful, shiny, smooth, flat surface. And then I put another facet here, another facet there, and then you're able, I'm holding the spoon out like, and then you're able to get the smooth transitions and the flat surfaces you need for decoration and the facets that you need for the feel of it. So this is, in my opinion, why boldness is so important to get better at spoon carving, because boldness involves the confidence and the knowing what you're doing, the method, and the conscious execution of a technique, which is a smaller increment basically of a method, is a technique, which allows you to get to that end result, and then it makes it possible for you to take the axe to it, take big pieces off. It gets quicker, it gets more enjoyable, it gets safer. And it's just a good feeling, to be honest, to take big pieces off with an axe, to make long shavings with a knife. It's more fun than being insecure and having and taking tiny little chunks out with the axe, and every spoon takes you a week and a half. Which means to the next spoon, improving yourself is gonna take you that much longer, instead of making 5 spoons a week and then 5 spoons a day and then 10 spoons a day, and improving with each one and learning with each one. So that's my take on this topic today, and I really hope this helped you. This is a pro tip because I think it goes a step further than just a certain knife technique or an axe technique. It's an underlying method or a way of approach to using tools in anything for that matter. No matter if I'm here in Japan on the mats and trying to choke somebody out or throw somebody in training, if I don't have the boldness, the confidence, and the knowledge of what I'm doing, I'm not going to be fast enough. I'm not going to be confident enough to execute. And it's the same here in spoon carving. So this is why I think it makes you a better spoon carver, to get bold with your techniques. That means get the time in, get carving, use your tools, keep them sharp, have fun. I don't want to give you the whole rundown as usually on YouTube. Please support the channel if you want to. You know how to probably by now from everybody else on YouTube. My spoon crafter and bush carver essential shop is down below. I made it on Amazon. It has all the stuff that I'm using personally. If I'm not using it or liking it, it's not in there. It's a good way to support the channel. And of course, my website is down there as well, where you can buy stuff like the spoon, for example, my custom knives, my leather work, or where you can just get in touch with me if you have any questions. So thank you very much, folks, for watching. I hope you're safe wherever you are. Have fun, and I'm gonna see you next time. Cheers.